If we knew more about our sleep, what would we do differently? Would we go to bed at a consistent time or take steps to reduce interruptions to our sleep? With Sleep Score, Apple Watch measures your bedtime consistency, interruptions, and sleep duration. Then, every morning it combines these factors into an easy-to-understand score from 1 to 100. So you'll know how to take the quality of your sleep from okay to very high. Know your sleep score with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
Mornings have a rhythm. You can hear it, feel it. And at Quaker, we fuel it. With 100% whole grain oats and a good source of fiber in every bowl, helping you turn that rhythm into your soundtrack for a great day. Fuel to start whatever's next. Quaker, official sponsor of FIFA World Cup 26.
Let's go! Let's go!
Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here. Now, this is a hypnosis session that was created for a client that had a very severe food allergy. And one of the things that they needed to do to keep themselves safe was with unfamiliar food, they needed to check the ingredients to make sure it didn't have any of the allergens that could trigger something quite dangerous. Now, because there was other things going on in their life that was causing them stress and anxiety, they were then checking more often and they were getting more anxious about how they were checking. And one of my favorite metaphors for getting the balance just right is the story of Goldilocks, because for those people that have heard the fairy tale or the children's story of Goldilocks, they know that Goldilocks was trying chairs and porridge and beds and was always trying 3 different things until she found the right one for her. This applies to the client that I was working with, because for them not to check anything at all under any circumstances could be a threat to their health. Equally, if they were obsessively checking, that can just lead to even more anxiety or the fantasy of relief, because the checking temporarily gives them relief, but they don't need to check to begin with. But to go back to a middle ground where it was just right, that actually they're checking if they need to, but if they don't, they won't. And even if they need to check, they're going to do it in a way which is calm and composed rather than frantic and anxious. So if you tend to check things, or if you tend to worry a lot about your allergies, this session might be useful. It was specifically for a client that had food allergies. That might not be your allergy. And for them, checking was the key thing, whereas for you, it might be something else. So if you like the idea of a bespoke session just for you, have a look in the description, because you can find details on a consultation call or how to work with me. It's all there in the description. And then we can have a chat about a bespoke session just for you. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that feeling of resourceful relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close. That's it. And as they close, just position your body in such a way where it feels natural to relax. It feels comfortable. That you can let yourself get to that place where breathing slows down and imagination awakens. And you already know how easy it is to imagine. You've done it while walking, while waiting. You didn't need to go into a place called hypnosis to go back to a memory or think of the future. Your brain already has all of the knowledge and capabilities to think about things. And sometimes how we think about things changes how we feel and what we do. And when things change, those thoughts change. The feelings change. And as the thoughts and feelings naturally change, so too does the actions we're willing to do or not do. It simply follows a sequence. Like when one domino hits another and creates that chain reaction. And I want you to get a sense that there is a part within your mind that's very capable, that wants to keep you safe. That if there's doubt or danger, it nudges you, prompts you to do something to reduce that risk. And maybe we just call that thing checking, verifying, validating. That's what many people do in different situations. If in doubt, they check. And if the doubts are valid, then checking is a useful thing to do. But sometimes the doubts aren't real. Sometimes the doubts only come because the feeling isn't quite right. Does someone smile because they're happy? Or are they happy because they smile? These things bounce off each other. It's not just a linear direction. And I want you to think of a place where you were on holiday and just felt emotionally in a good place. The kind of place that when you were choosing food, you didn't even feel a desire or need to check. Just imagine floating back, not into your body, but into the time. Float back to as you are now, seeing that younger version of you, maybe in a restaurant, on holiday in a different country. And if you can see that version of you looking happy and relaxed, calm and confident, let me know by nodding your head. And all I want you to do is to mimic that younger version of you. Breathe the way they breathe. Smile the way they smile. Have the posture the way they have their posture. That game of mimicry. That's it. Almost like you're starting to feel how they feel. And notice they order something. And even if it's an unfamiliar food, there is no desire to check. And notice what happened. They were fine. Nothing bad happened. Because in many areas, risks may not be nothing, but they may be low. And I want you to get a sense that, what if this is a clue that you've been erring too far on the side of caution? It's good to be safe. It's good to reduce risks. But that doesn't mean you need to check everything in every time, in every place. I want you to get a sense that this is somewhere on that spectrum of how often you need to check, and sometimes you don't need to check as often as you think. And then float to a different memory, maybe more recently, when you were checking several times even when you knew. Again, you're not in your body, you're just watching that version of you. And notice it had nothing to do with the food, and it had nothing to do with the information that you were checking. There was just a sense that that version of you was anxious or unsettled, and the checking was an attempt to feel better. And maybe it did make you feel better, temporarily. But it wasn't necessary to ease doubt. It wasn't necessary to give you clarity that you already knew. And as you look at that version of you, I want you to get a sense that this isn't quite right. Like Goldilocks trying porridge or chairs or beds. It doesn't make sense to feel like you've only got one option. Try a few and find what seems to be just right. Not checking at all would be reckless. Obsessively checking, well, that would be a waste of time. And actually, it wouldn't actually make you feel any better. It would just be you getting lost in an addictive loop where information makes you feel better, very temporary, before you go back to feeling how you were before. Consider this type of checking like a small child with a comfort blanket. The blanket only helps because they think it helps. The blanket does not protect them at all, and yet they can feel safe holding on to that patch of cloth. If your unconscious is now willing to frame compulsive or obsessive checking, or the inner dialogue of anxious doubt as a form of comfort blanket that you've simply outgrown, let me know by nodding your head. Instead, what if there's a middle ground that feels just right? I want you to float to a memory where you had the balance just right. If there was a particular reason to check, then you check, not in a worried way, an anxious way, but just in a way that it's useful to check just in case. A pilot checks the fuel gauge, not because they're anxious about running out of fuel. It's just good practice to check the fuel gauge before they take off. And I want you to feel that that exists within you. Checking does not require doubt, and checking does not require anxiety. Checking can just be caution. And I want you to go back to that memory and observe yourself where it was just right. Not checking too much, but also not a future where you're not checking at all. That middle ground to keep you safe without needing to worry. And once you've found a time like that, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to observe that version of you. See a time when you were checking something without looking anxious or worrying, able to try new foods and still be safe. There's something powerful, strong, intelligent about that way of doing things. Because here's the paradox. When people check only when they're very anxious, sometimes the anxiety means they forget the very thing that they've checked. It doesn't keep them safer. It makes them more at risk. But deliberately and confidently checking from a place of curiosity only when it's necessary, that is intelligence, that is wisdom, that is empowerment. And when you see those qualities in that version of you, step into that version of you and feel that you are embodying that calm composure, thoughtfulness, preparation, an element of only checking if you really need to, and even then, never in an anxious way, because the anxiety is not necessary. And I want you to think of just how many ways you have of dealing with anxiety that have nothing to do with checking. Mindfulness, being aware of your environment, sounds like music, things to see in nature, all of it helps. Sometimes journaling, just writing things down, gives you a level of objectivity to reduce the anxiety without needing to check a single thing. Sometimes sleeping or taking a nap or reading a book, it all helps. And I want you to imagine a future now. And I want you to see these qualities, confidence, calm, composure, checking but only when necessary, over the next days, weeks and months, until you observe that that version of you has got it just right. Not reckless and never checking, but not obsessively checking or doubting too much. See that version of you with the perfect balance, only when necessary, and always from a place of curiosity and confidence, not anxiety and worry. And then go further into the future, maybe see yourself on a trip away from home, and see that version of you gets the balance just right. You can't control all the variables, but you don't need to. See a version of you doing what they can in a confident, articulate, composed way without needing to be obsessive, anxious, or worried. And if you can imagine that future version of you getting it just right, keeping you safe, but not needing to hold on to that comfort blanket, let me know by nodding your head. Step into that future version of you and imagine being offered a meal you've never had before. And think about how you would handle that in such a way where you're careful but not anxious. You're cautious but not panicked. And if you feel like you can navigate that in just the right way, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And here's the interesting thing. When you do things in such a way, you feel more in control of your life. And those waves of anxiety get smaller and easier to manage. The world remains the same, but you are more capable. Waves can affect a small boat. Waves have no impact on a big ship or a cruise liner. As your resources grow, these small things affect you less. And as you hold that thought, it's time to return. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Start to connect and calibrate into the here and the now as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.
This Father's Day, when you ship UPS Air at the UPS store, your items arrive on time or your money back, guaranteed at no extra cost. It's like the father of all shipping services. It shows up to the airport way too early, just to play it safe. It's overprotective about all the things that truly matter, and it's always prompt, especially to be with family. Make it your first choice to celebrate your dad. Ship UPS Air with our money-back guarantee, exclusively at the UPS Store U.S. retail locations. Visit the upsstore.com/airshipping for full details. Terms and conditions apply.
You can't reason with the sun. Trust us, we've tried. This summer, it's time to put that angry ball of fire on mute. Columbia's Omni-Shade technology is engineered to protect you from the sun's harsh rays that can burn and damage your skin. The sun is relentless, but so is our gear. Level up your summer at Columbia.com to spend more time outside and less time slathering on aloe lotion. You're welcome. Columbia, engineered for whatever.